So today we'll be talking about the arrow fruit a little bit, and this video in part is brought to you by frequent commenter, subscriber, and moderator on my Discord, The Digital Burrow, The Will of Dreams, because he said in a recent video talking about Gunko being a mummy that what if a previous user of the arrow fruit awakened and made the grand line? And this is a very interesting comment because the arrow fruit produces these cloth-like arrows that have often traveled in straight lines, which is very interesting because I don't think we've seen another fruit that produces a substance that travels in a straight line. So, okay, taking into consideration that the arrow fruit is, say, similar to, let's say, the mochi fruit or the string fruit, in which I think a bunch of fruits like the mochi fruit are special paramecia, meaning paramecia fruit users that produce a substance infinitely and effortlessly, and said substance is a real tangible substance that has some sort of a usual property attached to it. And we did a video about this a long time ago, but I'll probably do a redo of that video in the future. However, I do think Gunko is a special paramecia, and seeing as how both Katakuri and Doflamingo being awakened presumed special paramecias can terraform the landscape to become what they produce. So I could see a arrow fruit user in the past terraforming the land and making the waters go in a straight line around the globe. I could see that being the case. That's not too ridiculous. And then over time, islands and such situate on that line. Or maybe islands were drawn into the line by the awakened properties of the arrow fruit. Don't know, because the weird part about the arrow fruit is that normally things that are guided by the arrows have to follow that direction. So I could see if the user is awakened, perhaps there's a bit of a gravitational effect and things that are close to said arrow are drawn into the pool of that direction, and they follow the direction of the arrow that is produced. I could see that being the case. What's also very interesting and what makes me believe what Will of Dreams is saying more so is because based on the flashback that we get in Elbaf, also spoilers for Elbaf, but in the Brook flashback, we know that Princess Shuri, now known as Gunko, didn't have the arrow fruit. And judging by Imu's form, presumably as a Zoan, and seeing as how they have this weird arrow cloth around their legs, I could believe they gifted Gunko this fruit because it's reminiscent of their own abilities. And this makes me think that the fruit in question has some importance to the world at large because it's given this weird importance by being in association with Imu, especially seeing as how no other Holy Knight so far has powers similar to Imu to this degree. This is very direct. This is very similar. So I think the arrow fruit possibly is the most important special paramecia fruit in the series, seeing as how its properties are more unusual than what we've seen before, and it has a sort of motion ability that could go in a variety of different ways. And judging by what we've been seeing before, terraforming is not out of the wheelhouse of possibilities. So I do think Gunko's arrow fruit is going to be super important moving on in the future. Now, if she joins the Straw Hats, that presents some more interesting implications because unlike others that we've seen, like say Doflamingo string fruit, presumably, it's not super destructive. It's formidable enough at the level that Gunko has it to be useful, but not overpowered, which I think is interesting. So I don't think this fruit would be too powerful if you made her a main character. I don't think it will upset the balance of what's already been established on the main crew. We talked extensively about her joining the crew in a previous video. But with that being said, if you are enjoying the video so far, click the like button. And if you want to see more from me, hit the subscribe button followed by that bell so you never miss a video. In addition to, if you could, hit the hype button because it really does help. With that being said, Give me your thoughts and tell your friends about Polypede Works.